Dan and I are doing the presentation today. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Elias Ventura. My coworker is Dan Mount. Dan is also our Tury technical specialist. So anytime you have install related questions or technical support, Dan is the face, the name, the person that handles all that awesomeness. And today we're going to talk to you about Tury FastMax, what it is, what it does, how it can help you guys increase your bottom line. Tury is a tier one OEM company based out of Brazil. They do a lot of things OEM on the OEM bubble space. On the aftermarket side, they have a few cool products, one of which is the FastMax. This is a product that we've been really happy with in the US. It's really started to move the needle as far as being a great countermeasure for anti-theft, but also a great lifestyle enhancer. So for those of you that know what a throttle response controller is, there's a lot of companies on the performance side that do that solution. Our piece is basically that. It has the ability to take the latency out of the gas pedal away, but also we added some cool stuff. And that's what makes us different, and that's what we're going to dive into. As mentioned, this is a throttle response controller by nature, so any latency found in any vehicle's gas pedal, that delay, this mitigates that, takes it away. We also added anti-theft solutions. We also added eco mode, so you can save on the MPGs. We also are going to talk about what valet mode is and what also high idle mode is. So all these features is what makes our piece unique, in addition to just being a throttle response controller. Also, any questions, we'll keep an eye on those. And at the end, if there's, any questions also, we can answer those as well. So let's get it started. Dan, since you're a little bit more techie, you can tell us about drive-by-wire.
Yeah, so as you see here, so in 1988, BMW was kind of the first one to come out with drive-by-wire. Since then, most manufacturers followed suit shortly after that. Majority of our applications are going to be from 2003 and forward. Pretty much if it's drive-by-wire, we've got a coverage for that. Unless you get some real oddball stuff. But generally, when you start looking at throttle pedals, most manufacturers use the same throttle pedal through multiple lines. We've got harnesses that fit a Ford that also fit Toyotas, Hyundais, Chrysler vehicles, pretty wide variety there.
And basically the qualifier is if your vehicle has drive-by-wire, likely will have a solution, or at least hit on a good 80, 90% of those.
Right.
And, we validate them, we qualify them. Sometimes, a lot of you guys in the field help us validate them if we haven't had the resources or the demand for that application. So it's something where, collectively, we keep adding applications.
Yep. So as we grow, and new vehicles come out, we're constantly validating new vehicles, verifying fitment, stuff like that. We actually just had one in the group chat the other day on a 2024 Can-Am Defender. It's a different plug than previous years. Can-Am has been using the same plug for the last 10 plus years, and then on the 24s they changed. But by looking at it, we recognize that this is a Polaris connector, so we still have coverage for it. We verified. We got a couple more tests to do, but we should be good to roll that out for the new Defender too. So we're always growing, and as customers come to us, we can grow into more vehicles as long as we have the vehicles to test. So kind of the benefits of going by fly-by-wire, longer life, no wear, no mechanical problems, better injection control, just all around much more user friendly when it comes to cruise control, diagnostics, um, fuel mileage, all that. The way that most throttle pedals are going to work, you've got two signals. You have a TPS1 and a TPS2. In order for throttle pedals to operate, the ECM needs to see these two signals and how they sweep and differentiate. You can see down here, they've got the different types of signals on how different manufacturers do it. These are just examples. There's many different examples of how they're used. And also, as you'll see, um, pretty much any connector you find on throttle is going to have 6 pins. Your TPS1 to 2 grounds and 2 5 volts. That is just a safety precaution. Is if you lose one, you've always got a backup, and then also that's what reads the sweeps.
So, as I mentioned in the beginning, throttle response controller. So there's a lot of solutions in the market, all of which do the same thing. The benefits, from a lifestyle perspective, I always like to talk about, driving habits, different vehicles, how they feel and drive, and, how we get that reaction from the vehicle as we're driving it. And a lot of times, and I think we've all been there, we've been in a vehicle that gas pedal just doesn't feel alive. It doesn't really have that oomph. You gotta, mash on the foot a little bit more. You gotta do a little bit more to make that car do something, right? But there's also some cars that you tap the pedal and they go. So regardless of what the vehicle is, a throttle response controller has a solution. Basically, the ability to remove that delay. Our piece has 4 different maps, each with 9 levels of adjustment. It's all plug and play, so it's easily returnable back to stock. You really can choose where this solution fits you, whether it's for highway driving around town. It's really fun to get creative with it. It's easy to set up, install, program. As mentioned, plug and play. We use Bluetooth 5.2. The bigger thing here, and we get asked this a lot, what does it do to my warranty? What does it do to my car? It does not change any type of ECU reflashing or anything of that sort. All we're doing is telling the gas pedal that it's at a different position from where it was originally. So no worry about, voiding warranty or being seen as like a, ECU flash or anything of that sort. So 100% plug and play, dealerships like that, expeditors like that, dealers like that, end consumers like that. And, it gives you that peace of mind that, the warranty dark cloud doesn't hover over you or the customer or anything of that sort. There are some new things that we're going to talk about. Our reverse input signal. That's something that's pretty popular now. There are some other things that we're going to dive into as far as features. But all in all, this solution fits basically any vehicle. I mean, we just validated some EVs, but cars, trucks, heavy duty vehicles, motorcycles, UTVs. I think we did Sea-Doo a couple months back. Slingshots. I mean, if it has wheels and drive-by-wire for the most part, like we were talking about earlier, it's going to have a solution from us. And whether it's auto or manual, it's going to work. Whether it's diesel or, like I said, EV, it's going to work. So pretty exciting to be pretty well capable on the application chart. The app itself, for those of you that haven't seen it, it's kind of like what you see there. The 4 map modes are at the top. The intensity adjustment, that wheel, that dial is in the middle. It has an on and off button if you just want to activate, deactivate the actual piece itself. At the bottom, there are 3 more icons, and we'll dive into that. But this app, being that it's Bluetooth 5.2, I use mine every day. It's almost instantaneous to when you turn on the car. I'm an iPhone user, so it's pretty quick, pretty easy to use. Updates are, noticeable as far as, when they come out and when we push them through. The range, I'm going to say this from experience. I've experienced more range than what is shown there. I have about 150-foot driveway, and when I was doing some testing, I was easily in the 80 to 100-foot range. So it has some horsepower as far as, Bluetooth range. And that's just from my own individual testing. That could vary based upon where you're at, but it's pretty amazing to have pretty good range out of Bluetooth 5.2. You can use your app or you can use a display, which we'll show later in the presentation. But basically, what you see on here, you can do everything. You can do your selection of map. You can do your gas pedal programming at the time of install. You pair up to 4 devices. Basically, everything that our piece does is all done within the app. The cool thing for the Android guys, and I will say this because I'm a little bit envious of it, they have a little widget that populates somewhere within the software that just gives you kind of like a more information and feedback and also easy access. So as an Apple guy, I will say I'm a little bit jealous of that. But pretty capable. You can select different languages if need be. There are some videos on there for installation or just 101. But basically, that's what you see there within the app.
So this is going to kind of show our all the different settings that we can do in the performance side of things. We've got city, tour, sport, fast. Each one of those you can dial in from 1 to 9. Um, so with that, your customer can really fine tune if he likes driving in city 3 for day to day, but his wife likes to drive in sport 7. You can really dial it in wherever you want, what's most comfortable to you and what works the best on your vehicle.
So I'm gonna share one nugget really quick. Dan, if you don't mind, go back for a
Yep.
hot second.
Yep.
Something that I learned from the different map modes for you performance guys and gals out there. The city is going to be more responsive earlier on in the gas pedal press. Touring is going to be on that earlier to mid. Sport is going to be more in that upper mid, and fast is just gnarly and fun. I don't think Tommy Spears, our boss, is on here for us HKI guys, but I'm going to share a story about Tury Fast. When we first got this in the US, we all installed in our vehicles and we're kind of like, new to this, right? I don't know if you guys know or have driven a Toyota Camry, more specifically a 2018 4-cylinder Toyota Camry. When I tell you on Fast 9, our most aggressive setting, that was the loudest burnout that I heard while I was on the phone with Tommy. And his silence said it all. He goes, "Oh my God, this thing works." So if it could wake up, the least peppiest of vehicles, I mean, give you a kind of an impression on what Fast 9 does. Only imagine that like on a more performance-based vehicle or something similar. I always say if you use Fast 9, just grab on with both hands to the steering wheel because it's going to do something. But that Toyota Camry came to life. I have never heard of burnout. I thought he was doing a burnout contest for a hot second, but my little funny story.
So eco mode works in the same process as far as the other modes too, where you can dial it in. Jason can attest to this. He has used eco mode on his pickup, and has had really good success with the eco mode on fuel consumption. This has kind of been a big thing that we added a few months ago, and it's been a hit. People have loved this part of it.
And just like the other map modes, it has, the intensity adjustment. I think I went from like 23 miles per gallon to like almost 29. Um, and, you know, all the gas savings you can get is, it's a reward right now. But this does work. I just have a heavy foot, so I'm kind of in a more aggressive mode. So yeah, but that does work.
Yeah, I drive a full-size Silverado, and I like leaving mine in sport mode. That's where I like mine.
Yeah.
So valet mode is super cool too. So you got a kid borrowing a vehicle, or exactly what the name is, valet mode. If you have someone else driving your vehicle and you don't want to hot rod around, this is something that you can go in and give them 50 to 15% throttle. Um, they're not going to be out hot rodding around. It's super easy to do in the app. You just hit your parking, dial it in where you want it, and then once you leave the vehicle, it will stay in that position until you get in the vehicle, open your app, and go back to one of your city, tour, sport, or fast modes that you choose.
Yeah, that's great for like, dropping your car off at, service shop, letting a friend or a new driver drive the car, valet stations, things like that. It gives you that peace of mind. I will say, for younger drivers, like if they learn on like a, F-150 or Silverado that, naturally might have a bigger motor and are pretty responsive, that might give you as a parent or them as a new driver, that confidence to be able to get acclimated with, a bigger vehicle, not necessarily saying fast, but more so acclimating into what, real world driving is as a novice driver. So this is a good solution. And also like if you have a performance car or a classic car, whatever, or, whatever it is, something that's, your hard-earned money, this gives you that confidence that no one's going to hot rod it, like Dan was saying. So auto lock mode, something that I use daily. Before, for those of you that remember our previous generation Tury Fast solution, you would have to tap that lock icon manually to manually lock your pedal. You can still do that. I have a lot of dealers that still do that. At times, I still do it myself, but basically, auto lock does the locking for you if you set that feature up and activate it within the app. Every time the vehicle is started, the pedal will be locked until you open the app. So you do have to, open the app. If you're an Apple user, I think on Android, I could be wrong. Dan, you can correct this. You don't have to do that. But basically, as you power cycle the vehicle, it either disables or enables. This is a great solution to talk to your dealers about for anti-theft. Obviously, if they want to manually lock it, that's fine. But basically, the thought process of auto lock is being able to disable your pedal. And if your pedal's disabled, the car, you can clone a key, you can change ECU, you can do whatever you want. That pedal's dead. It's not going to do anything. There are some, behind the scenes things that we like to share, more so as industry, 101 for tech support, of which if this is going to be, put on YouTube, we'll probably save that for a more internal conversation. But it's one of those things where auto lock is my personal favorite. I enjoy talking about this. This gives you a solution of being a throttle response controller and a security system all in one. This is one of the solutions that we've added. And the cool thing about auto lock is you can either do it manually or you can do it automatically within the app. So whether you're lazy like me, or if you're, a little bit more, like pressing buttons and things like that, you just tap that bottom left icon. You're gonna have to do like a little more hard tap on it because it's not going to be, accidentally tapped. And I think there's a confirmation. Do you want to activate this or not? But basically, as you power cycle the vehicle, it's either going to disable or enable the pedal. And on iPhone, you do have to open the app so that it re-engages the pedal.
So the magic key. The magic key is pretty cool. It's something new that we came out with. We are now in our second generation of magic key. It's sold as an option. It doesn't come with every FastMax. Really, this is a proximity sensor. It still works over Bluetooth, so you still have that 45 to 65 foot range, but there's a lot of people who are still getting just like Elias, way more range than that. Um, for example, I take a lot of calls on the Magic Key as far as tech support, saying, "Hey, when the Magic Key leaves the vehicle, it's not locking it out." So the first thing I ask them is, "Where's your Magic Key?" Well, it's just sitting on the toolbox. I said, "Okay, take it in the house, put it on the far side of your house, go back and try it again." Works every time. It has an extremely long distance. Um, so with this magic key, this is kind of set up to be your anti-carjacker system. Typically, when you're pulled out of a vehicle at a stoplight and your vehicle's being stolen, they're taking your keys and they're taking your phone. So now, with this magic key in your pocket, once they get down the road, it's going to do a lockout. There's one or two ways that we do lockouts. We do a full lockout where once the timer hits its threshold, it completely locks out. Otherwise, there's a progressive lock, which will reduce the input to 50%. And from there, it goes to 40, 30, 20, 15 at 10 seconds on each level. And then after that, it goes to 0. Um, what's cool about the second generation Magic Key is that we have a 2-year battery in it. That is something that Tury has been really proud of and showing off is that you no longer have to replace the battery in these. The old ones, the batteries would die in a couple months, and they were really hard to get open. With this, one thing that we're teaching people is that on it, you'll see there's a button on there. When you talk to a customer, when you're setting the magic key up and selling the magic key, click that button 10 times and it'll permanently turn that on. Then that way it can't get bumped and turned off and create all sorts of problems.
But one more thing in addition to, anti-carjacking, Magic Key in its inception before we, even brought it, this was a fleet slash dealership want. So for your expediters, if you want to protect a bunch of vehicles on the lot, this is a great solution for that. That's what it was intended for originally. Or fleet, vehicles. If you have a bunch of drivers and you just want to protect them while they're at a lot, the vehicles, specifically, with the, high rise of Hyundais and Kias and Dodge and, the Mopars as we know them, a lot of dealerships are starting to take awareness to the solution. And if all the sales guys or if all, the staff at, whatever, workspace environment you're selling this to, this is a great solution. And, one thing to note with Magic Key, we can send you and as Dan, tell me how many up to how many Magic Keys we can do per serial ID. Is it unlimited or is it a certain number?
It's a certain number, but it's a very high number.
Okay, I want to say it's in like the hundreds
Yeah.
quantity range, but you each get a unique serial ID, and if it's for that one business, that serial ID will be unique to that business. And you can program up to 4 Magic Keys per Tury FastMax module. But again, the creativeness here is this can be used for, personal as far as anti-carjacking as a great countermeasure. It allows the vehicle to leave far enough away from you where you're safe, but also shuts down the vehicle. But on the flip side, from an expediter's perspective, this can be a great tool for dealerships and fleet applications.
Mhm. So the GPS tracker, this is where this product gets upsold in remote start sales time after time. Because the cool thing about this is that you can actually um, wire this into a drone and say the vehicle goes missing, don't know where it is, go in your drone app. You can find the vehicle on drone with the GPS, but you can also lock out the throttle. Um, I actually helped a client set one up for One that their son kept stealing their vehicle. They put keys in safes every night, but the kid had cloned keys and was taking off in the vehicle in the middle of the night. So then they got the Tury Fast piece, had it wired into the drone, and that's how they ended up catching him, is they shut the vehicle off when he had left overnight. Um, so firsthand seeing how it was used was pretty cool. You can also, and it doesn't have to be a drone. Some like the CalAmp GPS units have triggered outputs. It could be a latched output, single pulse, double pulse. Um, you change all that within the app, so it's super flexible to what you're installing, and all you're doing is hooking up one wire.
Yeah, just for clarification, this isn't a GPS tracker solution. This is a input trigger wire. Um, and you can get creative with how it gets installed as the application needs it, as Dan was saying. This is one of two wired connections that are optional. Everything else is plug and play, as mentioned earlier. These are just things that we added that take this to a more unique level. So being able to hook this up to like a third party, telematics device, or if you guys are a little bit on the old school side, an old fashioned toggle switch, bury a toggle switch somewhere in the car and call it a day. You can get creative per the application for this. If you've seen a Tury FastMax, this would be the white black wire that you see on the harness. Um, and this is a really cool solution to be able to sell in conjunction with, we're getting into remote start season. I'm in the mid-Atlantic, Dan's in, the Midwest. It gets cold. So we're probably selling remote starts and security. This is a great piece to attach, whatever brand remote start you guys are, offering. So great solution, and it's a great upsell, and it's a great profit adder.
The dash panel, pretty straightforward. This is for your guys who don't have a smartphone, don't want to use a phone, or they like the custom install part of it. If they want to flush us into a dash panel, surface mount it, whichever. You can toggle through all through your maps as far as city, sport, tour, fast, 1 through 9. You can do your lockout with it. Everything you can do in the app, you can do on this little controller. It's just a little guy too. It's about I'd say 3/4 by 1.5 inch size wise.
Yeah, it's tiny. So if you have fat fingers, you might press all the buttons at once. So this one's cool. This is going to make a lot of you guys and gals happy. So there's so many creative ways to implement high idle mode. And all we're doing with high idle mode is within the app, we're able to hold a certain RPM rev within the app. So where this becomes really cool is for your Jeepers that are winching, your welders or service trucks that are just consuming a little bit more electrical. They can rev up the vehicle a little bit. I have guys that are using this in like small RV applications for like power supplies. Not like your full size like RVs that have like a generator built in, but like maybe a more DIY application. I mean, you can really get creative with it, but we're car audio guys for the most part, right? So SPL lanes, you want to beef it up a little bit and, get creative with it. High idle mode is fun. One of the coolest features that we implemented, and I think the thought process with this was for SPL and for Jeepers. So winching, welders, a lot of subs, a lot of power. I mean, this is fun. And all you do is go in, activate high auto mode, rev to where you want to be at for your desired RPM. It'll hold it. To undo that, you just tap it again and you're out of there. So pretty easy.
Yep. So in the app, if you hit high idle mode again, it'll deactivate, or if you do any adjustment to the throttle, it'll also deactivate at that time too.
Yep.
So the safe box is a little added security that we can do with it. This also goes underneath the dash. And so your Tury Fast and your OEM connector will be put into this box. It is an iron stamped box, and the screws that come with it, the heads will twist off once you torque it down. So essentially, so when the unit is in there and someone wants to steal the vehicle, if they're aware of the Tury piece is in there, they would have to drill this out to be able to take the vehicle.
So this is kind of like for all the, you know, especially for like the high theft vehicles like the Mopars and Hyundai Kias, but whatever application really. Um, what happens if someone just goes in there and unplugs this or, removes my Tury Fast piece? Well, this is our countermeasure to, someone saying, oh, what if they just unplug it? This is our solution for it. And it's not too big of a, box in itself. So it easily goes under the dash. We made some modifications to it, I think. So it is a little bit more installer friendly in that aspect of things. But yeah, it's a cool little add-on that we came out with. Probably one of the newer accessories. And that's everything right there. So whether it's just a Tury FastMax and you just enable and disable the pedal as a easy plug and play security system with a lifestyle enhancer, or if you add all the accessories, just think about all the creative possibilities that you can offer your client for, not just lifestyle change for how their car drives, but also security. Once you stack all this up, you have a pretty well put together security solution that's, for the most part, plug and play with the exception of two wires that are optional if desired to hook up. So the possibilities here are endless. I will tell you from a experience perspective, auto lock, as I mentioned earlier, that's really all you need. And it's already built into the core solution without all these added accessories. But once you add all these accessories, I mean, you have a pretty well put together security system. And if you tap this into a third party solution, now you've overbuilt it. Let's face it, vehicle theft is all about, preventing the theft and buying time. The more you have, the more of a well put together solution you have. But also from a cost perspective, if you just want to offer a value solution that works, you can do our system independently as well.
So the test drive kit is something essentially, it's exactly what it's called, test drive. So you have a customer who comes into your shop and you're talking to them about Tury, and you said, what kind of vehicle do you have? Okay, so you look up the vehicle. Okay, so this is going to take a F harness. You grab your F harness, you grab your Tury Fast, plug it in, go out to his vehicle, take him for a test drive, go through the modes, and you have now shown this customer everything that this can do in their vehicle so they can real world experience this. 9 times out of 10, that will not come back out of the vehicle once they have the test drive. With it, in the test drive kit, there's 27 harnesses, dash panel, magic key, and 2 fast modules. This doesn't have all of our harnesses in it, but it has all of the popular ones. This will cover more than 90% of the vehicles that you're going to see here. Once you sell, say, like a F harness out of it, it's out. You just order in an F harness, restock your kit, it's ready to go.
It's like a mini warehouse.
Yeah.
So the system's up in your wheelhouse.
Yep.
Since you're a power sports guy.
Yeah, so the IP stuff. This stuff was a lot of fun. This is something that I helped a lot with research and development, especially on the Harley side of things, because that was kind of more of my background as the power sports. Um, you have all the same features in the IP units. We cover Can-Am, Polaris, Vanderbilt, Slingshot, Spider, Riker, and then we've got some of the stuff for the Jeep guys and the Bronco guys who really like to get off and go off-roading. Completely sealed units. So you'll see on these, they come in as one piece. They do not have a module and a harness separate. So super cool units. They do the same thing. You can pair a magic key with them. Um, like especially like in the Harleys, when you get into the custom world, everyone gets rid of the security on their bikes. No one wants to carry the Harley key fob that dies every other month on them. So with this, I've got a lot of guys who will use the Tury piece for the performance, but also throw a magic key in your pocket at a bike show, go off, walk around, you don't have any worries.
Well, let's kind of break that down a little bit. I think you educated me on this. How many keys are available for like a Polaris or a Can-Am? Isn't it like a single digit number?
Yeah, so like when you start looking at Polaris, at the Rangers, Razors, uh, y- some of the Polaris Aces, there's like 9 keys. So if you got a key, it's gonna work for another one out there. The Can-Am is a little bit different. Majority of them are have the DSS system, which it's an encoded key, so those are
Okay.
safer. But mainly it's the Polaris stuff.
What about like Sea-Doo? There's
Uh,
no keys, right?
Sea-Doo is a tether.
Okay.
It is usually an encrypted tether, is what it is.
Gotcha. But what I'm trying to get at is, we can protect these vehicles too, as there's probably not as fancy of electronics on some of these. We have the ability to provide security solutions too, which is great. But also, um, taking that delay out, yeah, a Harley can be fast, but it could be fun too. Same thing for a lot of these like Polarises and side by sides UTVs. These are toys. You can have more fun with them too. So the throttle response is definitely a great enhancement there.
Yeah, I've got a Polaris Razor that I've got one on, and factory, it's pretty okay. But then once you put the Tury piece on it, I'll never take it off. It's just it's so much more responsive. It takes out all of the leg, and they have a fair amount of leg in them from factory.
Yeah, so it can be more fun.
Yep. So we're all here for more fun
And security.
and some security.
One of the most popular vehicles stolen in my state, side by side.
Yep.
So these can be used just about anywhere in our territory.
So we got some cool new stuff. Dan talked about the Magic Key. I kind of alluded to EVs earlier in a general sense, but we just validated some Tesla applications. So specifically Model S and Model X, we just validated. So those are new applications that you guys can share with your dealers. Magic Key, also a new awesome little upgrade and revamp to it there. So we're excited about those things. That's kind of our latest and greatest in the last couple of days slash weeks. So we're really excited about those, and we're going to continue to have more applications that are going to come out to to further the application chart. And of course, as new vehicles come out, we'll continue doing that as well. But you know, Tesla is a popular vehicle out on the road, so I know some of those cars are instantly responsive, but you know, more fun, more security. So something to think about there. And that's Dan and I's contact info. A lot of you guys know me. Um, Always available. but Dan also is equally as available, as is also Mr. Jason Billups. So we just wanted to come on and kind of do a little refresher on some of this. I don't know if there's any questions or any creative thought bubbles or anything that you guys may have, or anything you guys would like to talk about. We want to open it up for any Q&A if you guys have some.
So one question on the Polaris, like ATVs, not the side by sides. Hooking that on the Polaris is where are you attaching all that in at? Like, I mean, is it in the underneath the plastics, like at the throttle, ECU, ECM, and all that?
So right now, coverage only covers the side by sides. We do not
Okay.
have the four wheelers verified right now. Some of the four wheelers on the Polaris is still cable driven. So our son has a 22 Scrambler 850. Well, when we first bought it, I was like, perfect. I'm gonna do verification on this. I'm gonna check it. We'll be good to go. Turns out it's still cable driven. So,
Really?
yep.
But
I got an 850 Sportsman, and mine's not cable. It's through,
yeah,
resistance, obviously, through the throttle, through not cable itself. It's wire driven.
yeah. For most of the vehicles, it's going to be either pedal or Dan, what's the Harleys? Is it at the throttle cable itself?
So Harley
throttle
connectors, you've got two places. Road glides are underneath the instrument cluster. You
Okay.
just two screws, pop it forward. You're gonna find your connector there. And then on street glides is going to be under the radio. There's a bulkhead of connectors, and it's gonna be right in there.
Gotcha.
But for like Polaris and Can-Am, it's all at the pedal still too?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, some of the Polarises have a patch panel in or a patch cable in there. So the connector may not look right down at the pedal, but follow that harness up 8 to 10 inches and you'll find it right there.
Good to know. Good to know.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Yep. Any other questions? Jason, would you like to share some thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I've been using this piece for a long time as a rep, and it has definitely saved me on the eco mode. I'm very excited about that. Dan, you're 100% right. The 29 Silverado. I'm a little bit more aggressive, but I'm still gaining about 3 to 4 more miles per gallon. I was just bought a new truck, which is a diesel, and I'm very excited to see what that's going to do because I'm already getting 31 miles per gallon. I haven't put it on there yet because I'm waiting for a box and I'm going to do everything at the same time. One of the key things is, guys, with us going into remote start season is that tag sale. This is definitely a good tag sale. Don't just tell them what exactly they need, but if you're already going to be up underneath the dash, go ahead and have them install this and say, hey, I put this in there. Try it out. If you don't like it, you got 48 hours and we'll take it out. What I think you're going to notice is that even if you don't connect it to the remote start and use your drone or whatever to shut it down, they're going to notice the performance immediately, but going to enjoy the safety knowing that the pedal is going to be locked out. It does work. I was in Columbus. A guy had a Charger. He got held up at gunpoint, and he just gave him the keys and said, "Go, have at it." He let him get a couple blocks away, and then went to his drone. And want to make sure it's clear: you are using your mobile app on your drone to shut this down. You're not using Tury. What happens is that you send that signal if you do op 1 or 2, whatever. You hit that, then it goes to a sequence shutting the pedal down. You're only using the drone piece to be able to do that. So, somebody wants your keys, give it to them. You can shut it down, remotely. And when I mean shut it down, it will go down to idle. Okay. Not all at once. It goes through a series and reduces, I can't remember what the percentage is, but it shuts it down remote. That's another key feature. But with all the vehicles being stolen right off the factory car lots, we should be approaching whoever our expediters are in the territory, because they're working with them anyway. Set them up with these, put the magic key on it, and have a nice day. Even if they got a clone a key or whatever, if the pedal's locked out, it's locked out. That is in layman terms. It is very easy to install. It's plug and play besides those, that one wire that you have to connect. It's basically just the input and you connect it to the output of your module of your drone or whatever. It's pretty straightforward that way. I make it sound easy, but everything else is plug and play. But I think this can be a hit. I'm selling a lot of them in Detroit for obvious reasons. And also I have set up 2 or 3 Polaris dealers because they go to the shows. They sell a lot of them for the slingshots. Slingshots is also one of the most popular vehicles to be stolen. You put this on there and it will take those worries away. This dealer's selling, I think, about 25 a month. So if you're not going after that market, somebody else is going to. So check that out. If you got an expediter in mind, go that route. If you got, side-by-side Polaris dealers, any of those guys that you're selling to already, I think this is something else that they would be extremely happy with that nobody else has. So not to this caliber.
So I'm going to share one last thing, to Jason's point. I remember from my retail days, there were certain applications for doing security that was just a very lengthy, drawn out install, and it was not plug and play, or there was just no solution for it. We have a lot of solutions on our application chart that automatically make you relevant to offer a solution for certain applications, like, a lot of your high-end sports exotic cars, a plug-and-play solution for a Corvette or an NSX or a McLaren or a Jag, whatever it is. Look at the application chart. You will be able to offer solutions that are really unique in that sense that somebody else may not have. So keep that in your back pocket too. Being able to offer a solution that's plug and play and it's security and it's a lifestyle enhancer, it's a win-win. So, but yeah. Any other questions? I think we're good. We got a quiet crowd today. So thank you guys. Thank you for having us. If you have any follow-up questions or anything, we're always available. We appreciate you guys for taking the time out of your already long day to hang out with us and, be here. But all in all, thank you. And anything you need from us, you know where to find us. And yeah, thank you, Sam. Thank you, Davis crew. And sell, sell, sell.